Tonight on ABR, the Catholic Church welcomes its new Pope, the first from Latin America. Pope Francis from Argentina replaces Benedict XVI to lead the Church with 1.2 billion followers worldwide. China, the world's second largest economy, will open its markets and allow its currency to float within 5 years. Haruhiko Kuroda was endorsed by the lower house of parliament to become Bank of Japan governor, clearing the first hurdle in Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's plan to install a central bank leadership in favor of more easing. Catch the latest on the economic beat within the region with Jerovi Kitisin and Satapat Pathong. This is ASEAN Business Report.
Thursday, March 14, 2013, you are watching ASEAN Business Report live from Bangkok, Thailand. I am Satapat Pathong.
And I am Jerovi Kitisin. And starting off tonight, we're also packed with a lot of in-depth coverage, Kun Satapat,
exactly.
Regarding the populist policy, as well as this next step of the Roman Catholics. Starting off tonight, the Roman Catholic Church has chosen its new Pope, and it's the first non-European Pope in more than 1,200 years. More details in this report.
Mario Bergoglio, 76, who will be named Pope Francis, is from Argentina, the first South American to become Pope. He will be the 266th pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church and first member of the Jesuit order to lead the church. Francis was born to Italian immigrant parents and was raised in Buenos Aires, replacing his predecessor Benedict XVI, who was Pope for 8 years. The new Pope inherits many challenges that the Church is now facing, including the sexual abuse scandals, a shortage of priests, and growing competition from evangelical churches in the Southern Hemisphere. Francis was chosen by 115 cardinals who were younger than 80 and eligible to vote in what the Church called a period of conclave, or a secluded meeting of cardinals to choose the Pope, held in the Sistine Chapel of the Vatican City. Known as a humble man, Francis spoke out for the poor and led an austere life. He's known to cook his own food and shuns being driven by chauffeurs. In choosing the name Francis after Saint Francis of Assisi, Father Jorge, as the people still call him, obviously wants to continue to live simply and humbly, according to editor of the Catholic Times, Kevin Flaherty. Francis is considered a doctrinal conservative, opposing abortion, gay marriage, and the ordination of women, holding largely traditional view like his predecessors.
And while the Catholic Church has got its new Pope, Kunjerawi, let's take a quick look at a Pope candidate in our region, Southeast Asia. And here is the details.
While the Catholic Church has already announced its new Pope is first from South America, there were many speculations earlier that the new Pope would be a non-European. The papal post, which was once exclusively held by Italians, was open to other nationalities recently, including the Polish John Paul II and the German Benedict XVI. The ASEAN region came close to call, with a leading contender being a cardinal from the Philippines, home to the country's 75 million Catholics. The Philippines is also the country with third largest number of Catholics in the world after Brazil and Mexico. Luis Antonio Tagle, 55, is the Archbishop of Manila, becoming a cardinal since November last year. He was one of the youngest papabili, or potential candidate to become Pope. Born in Manila, Tagle studied in the capital and in the United States, and entered priesthood in 1982. He furthered his studies in Rome and became bishop in 2001. Tagle is known for his charismatic nature and as a media-savvy cardinal, often appearing in Philippine media broadcasts and as a presence on social media sites such as Facebook. He emphasizes helping the poor and voices opposition against abortion and contraception, with views in line with the Catholic Church.
And of course, we're going to follow up in more in-depth regarding the religious matter, Kun Sathapat. But now we're going to change to another subject of matter regarding the populist policy. Today there is a seminar, as we talked about yesterday,
right,
that Thailand, the economists, the senatorial body organized a seminar to discuss about the country-plaguing populist policy. Let's go and take a look at some of the issues listed and also the outcomes, the suggestions. Now, let me start, Kun Sathapat, with a few of the populist policy that the panel has listed, where they have defined the populist policy, the negative ones, as the one that adds to the national debt and weakens the fiscal strength. And regarding this, as you can see right now with the current government, is the minimum wage hike to 300 baht for the laborers, as we know, and the raising the civil servants' salary to 15,000 baht for the bachelor degrees people, and the rice pledging scheme and the first car policy are one of the few examples that have been raised in the seminar.
Well, and now let's take a look on some of the highlighted points that were discussed this morning in the forum. Of course, the populist policy is one of the major issues that were discussed this morning. And according to the forum, populist policy has become contagious and politicians will do everything to grab votes. And also, it is also said in the forum that for Thailand, political benefits have been almost inseparable. And according to Kun Gopsak Putragoon, an economist from Bangkok Bank, he said that Thailand may not survive a possible Asian economic crisis in the next 5 years if the Thai government does not start saving and stop unnecessary spending.
Right, and that is an if, because he said that within 5 years, he can foresee that an economic crisis is coming to Asia. Now, the suggestions, in short, the panel suggested that especially the former finance minister, Tirachai Puwanat Naraduban, he would like to propose to amend a charter in the financial sector to limit the lawmakers from easily approving outstanding budgets, or taking shortcuts, for example, Kun Sathapat, like issuing a budget loan decree. The senatorial body regarding the Financial and Fiscal Institute has been tasked also to increase its role to scrutinize not only the government spending behavior, but also the revenue that the policies can generate. So we're not talking about the money that they're going to spend. We're talking about after you do the policies, if this law has been amended, if the policy generates revenue, if it's not enough, then the government may need to take responsibility.
Right.
Now, another one is to adopt a law that political campaigners must provide details of budget management. They must tell the voters how are they going to find the budget, how are they going to manage the budget, and how is it going to be repaid, either through tax or through national debt. And adopt another one is the one that is quite rare, is to adopt a fiscal cliff method, where the administration will be forced to, like the US, to negotiate with the parliament for a budget deal. If they ran out of budget and they want to ask for more, then they should face the fiscal cliff, so then it prevents the government from, freely, liberally trying to deal with the problem by borrowing from the Bank of Thailand or borrowing from international funds.
Right.
And still on the populist policy, let's move on to a special report where a seminar was held today. We're going to get the views and insights from those on the panels. Okay. Before we go to the report then, we're going to turn to a pre-interview tape with Kun Gonjatika Wanit, who is also another former finance minister in the Apisit government. He also said that he agrees with the Minister Tirachai's proposal, and he said that he is confident that his government's policy was more successful, although it is also a populist policy. Let's go and hear what he has to say.
I think ex-finance minister Tirachai came out with some good ideas.
Right.
For example, he suggested that all populist policies henceforth should be financed through income rather than through debt only. Basically, it forces the government to restrict the number of populist programs to what the country can genuinely afford today. And I think that would frankly impose quite good fiscal discipline and will lead to an automatic cap on the amount of populist policies any government today or in the future can push forward.
Mm-hmm. Now, just a question, if I may ask, about the populist policy issue. How would you say, the difference between the populist policy between this government and the previous government of your administration?
Well, the best example in terms of comparison to make is in the agricultural policy. We had an income guarantee scheme, which cost the state about 50 billion baht a year, and every single baht went straight into farmers' hands. 3 million households or so. This government uses rice mortgage scheme, which has proven to be very wasteful, costing in terms of losses the government about 200 billion baht a year, and benefited only 1 million households, most of whom are not poor farmers. Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of efficiency of use of national resource, ours is frankly way more successful, and with no possibility of corruption or leakage arising out of our scheme.
And yesterday, Kun Jerry, we also had an interview with an analyst from Singapore, Kun Manu Bhaskaran. He is the managing director from Centennial Asia Advisors. Well, yesterday what we presented was about the Thailand stock market, but today Kun Manu will share his view on Thailand's economy as the country has been upgraded by Fitch rating from BBB to BBB+. And Kun Manu also shared his view on Thailand's populist policy as well. And here's the details. And how do foreign investors view Thailand in terms of economic management and political stability as of now?
There's growing confidence in Thailand. The Fitch upgrading of the sovereign rating, I think, has helped to refocus more positive attention on Thailand. The economy has done extremely well considering the political and economic and natural disaster shocks that have visited Thailand in the last 5 years. And there is a growing expectation that some of the fundamental changes in the region, such as the Greater Mekong sub-region, the opening up of Myanmar, as well as the domestic policies of the Thai government in terms of building infrastructure, all come together to make a positive outlook for Thailand.
Right. And are you concerned about a stock or a property bubble?
I think we are not quite there yet. I think it is something that all emerging market economies have to guard against, because we are in a period of ultra-low interest rates and substantial undisciplined flows of capital in and out of our markets. But I don't think from a valuation perspective, from the perspective of where credit is going and other indications of speculative behavior, that we are already in a bubble.
Mm-hmm. And when talking about the populist policies of the current government of Thailand, are you concerned about the policies when compared to other governments in the region?
Positive nature of the current Thai government's policies is the boost to infrastructure, which I think is very, very important. There are concerns in the market regarding particular specific policies such as the rice pledging system, which clearly I think will have to change it.
Well, Kun Sathapa, do you remember what Kun Gon said yesterday regarding the market bubble?
Mm-hmm, I did. He said that there's a possibility, but it's normal. Right,
but just now, Kun Manu actually said that he doesn't think that we're at that stage yet.
Right.
But we're going to still keep monitoring regarding this matter. We're going to turn to a report I promised you earlier about a populist policy and with the outlooks from the people on the panel.
In just a few years of the Thai-led government, the spending level for populist policies have raised alarm for most economists, as they are creating accumulative public debt that may affect the country's fiscal strength. Mam Rajawong Priyathon Tewakun, a former deputy premier and finance minister, said the populist policy does not always cause damage to the economy. Some can repay itself eventually, such as the 2 trillion baht infrastructure project, while other policies are detrimental.
Well, the one that create most problem, big highest loss and high. A lot of debts for the country is the rise mortgage policy, because it's being implemented wrongly, and even the government doesn't know how to handle it now. Doesn't know how to, and it's obvious that there'll be a big loss, as high as 150 billion baht per year. So that would be a main concern. If we can stop it, then our fiscal strength won't be affected.
He added that at this rate, the Thai public debt could soar by 80% of GDP. If nothing is done to end the contentious policies now, he warned that solving the problem later would be even tougher. Another concern is that the nature of political campaigns has changed to lure voters. Aggressive marketing have been incorporated in competing among political parties. The panelists have agreed that it is quite concerning when populist policy has become an addiction. Politicians now tend to come up with the nice to have rather than the need to have policies. What's more, it appears to be that politicians will not cease to come up with unnecessary populist policies.
In my opinion, the problem with political campaign when they use populist policy is that they only exhibit one side, the side of advantage to the public, and of course, people could be led into believing that they are getting all this for free. So people would be happy, to choose parties offering a big package in terms of populist policy.
While Thailand's public debt now stands at 45% of GDP, the panel is confident that debt could rise above 50 in the near future at the current spending pace. Notably, the Thai government is generating debt amid a fragile global economy. Thai economist Gopsak Putrakul from the Bangkok Bank also warns that with a possible Asian economic crisis set to return in the next 5 years, he is worried that Thailand may not survive as the government has not started saving. With the conclusion of the seminar today, the hope for Thailand's economy is there, but it remains quite dim. Juravi Gidesin reports. And we're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with still staying on the national issues regarding the possible economic bubbles, and if we can get insights regarding the Catholic Church's next step. We're going to be back with for more. Stay tuned.